All right, we're back. We're back. We're back. So, interesting day for the Miami Hurricanes, but we're gonna start with Devin Hester. Finally gets the nod, right? The greatest returner, in NFL history. Ended his career with 19 total return touchdowns, as well as 36 overall touchdowns. And I think this is what Deion Sanders was speaking about when he talked about there's tiers to Hall of Famers, right? And I know that kind of goes back and forth amongst people. I know I had a discussion with Coach Hayes and another guy. We were talking about, Hall of Famers. And my criteria is kind of on the same lines as the Sanders, but I understood the vantage point that they were coming from because sometimes based on the class, some guys will get in and be a Hall of Famer based on the class that of guys that they're in. But I'm just looking at it from the perspective of are you the best of the best? You know what I mean? And so obviously it's no discussion. Devin Hester was the best of the best. You don't have to go to numbers. You don't have to go. Oh well, obviously the numbers validate it. But what I'm saying is you have some positions where people try to overvalue the impact that they had on the game and they'll go to the numbers rather than just generally thinking, okay, well, did they change the game? Were they game changers? Were they defining, or were they just guys that just were able to get numbers, but they were never considered the best of their particular era? And Devin Hester is the best of his era, best in NFL history. So it's great to see that he finally got in. I saw someone post the overall numbers from college teams in terms of Hall of Famers, and realistically, I think we probably will have two more. All right, I think we'll have two more. I think those two will be Reggie Wayne and Andre Johnson. I know people will lobby for Vince Wilfork and people will lobby for Jimmy Graham, and not going to say that they're wrong for doing that, but if we're just thinking about surefire Hall of Famers, I think those two guys are the next up. Jimmy Graham, excuse me, was good, in the time that that he was in the that he was at his peak. You know what I mean? But I don't I don't see him as a Hall of Fame tight end, right? Now I know kind of goes back to what I said when people go back to numbers, but again, I like to do the comparison, thing. Do you look at Jimmy Graham in the same ilk as a Tony Gonzalez, Antonio Gates, Kellen Winslow Sr., even a Shannon Sharp, or even a Travis Kelsey, and the list goes on and on. But I don't see him in that ilk, but he might get in. But, I'm just looking at Andre Johnson as well as Reggie Wayne being our next two guys, and then we'll see how that goes after that. Now, Alonzo Highsmith leaves the University of Miami, takes a front office position with the New England Patriots. I think that's good. I think it's a good move for him. I think it's a good move for Gerard Mayo because I think it's imperative that when brothers get these particular type of jobs, I think it's best that they insulate themselves or try to put the best supporting staff around them. And you can't go wrong with Alonzo Highsmith. Numerous years of being, an NFL executive, being a scout in many aspects with the Green Bay Packers as well as the, Cleveland Browns. So I think it'll work out. Now, what's going to be up for debate amongst Kane fans? What did Alonzo Highsmith actually do here? Right? There's speculation. There's a lot of speculation. Some people speculate and say, "Hey, well, he brought forth this new NFL style of evaluating talent and was able to do this and able to do that." We don't really know. All right. Based on some tweets from some players, he extended some offers to some guys. His crowning, well, I'm not going to say his crowning achievement, but the biggest evaluating hit that he got was obviously Kobe Young, but Kobe Young is not here anymore. You know what I mean? So um, I'm not going to take the time to, as Jay Prince say, get in the mud with with other people trying to go back and forth with all of this. But what I will say about this though is that some people oversold this, right? Some people oversold the impact. Some people oversold the responsibilities and the duties that he had. And I'm not going to say it was similar or equivalent to what Ed Reed was doing when Manny Diaz was here, when he was the quote unquote chief of staff, and Alonzo Highsmith was quote unquote the GM of football. Which, I mean, these are just meaningless terms, right? Um, don't necessarily know. I know some people are asking will that particular position be filled. I don't I don't see a reason why it should be filled, right? I don't understand, what I mean, what it actually entails, what it actually does. You know what I mean? Obviously Barry Jackson has said, his 2 cents about the ordeal. There was speculation last year that he could have left last year, and I'm speaking about Alonzo Highsmith, but he stuck it out this particular year. So I don't know, right? But what I do know is there will be a lot of speculation. There will be a lot of individuals that said one thing, they're going to conveniently change their tune and say something else, and no one's going to call them out for doing it, right? I'm not going to call them out for doing it, right? Because I don't want to, even though I take pride in it, I don't want to, you know, deal with that right now. So with that being said, good luck to Coach High. I mean, not Coach Highsmith, but good luck to Alonzo Highsmith, and good luck to the New England Patriots. Right? Good luck to the Patriots. Jamila Dye leaves again. Another guy that interviewed for some NFL gigs last offseason, and he's going to be going to the Buffalo Bills in the same position. Now, what we've kind of seen here lately is we've seen some coaches that have essentially stated that, hey, look, college game is too much. Transfer portal, NIL, aka pay for play. Guys you think are gonna be here, they're leaving, and you are having to maybe bend over backwards even more now to accommodate some of these players, even more so than what you had to do, let's just say 3 years ago. So some guys are ready to leave, right? So Jamila Dye kind of falls into that particular category. Now again, similar to Alonzo Highsmith, I think he was kind of oversold a little bit. I'm not trying to diminish what he did, but I think too many people got caught up on that whole recruiter of the year, award that 247 gave based on whatever the situation was, and that's your prerogative, right? I think he did a solid job here. I'm not going to say he was terrible, but I think, and I said this when Manny Diaz was here, right? But obviously I didn't have a channel, so a lot of the stuff that I said previously is not recorded. They're just on like message boards. But people were talking about how our cornerbacks played under Mike Rump's tutelage, and I was telling somebody, I said, "Hey, look, man, the defensive coordinator sets the tone. The defensive coordinator sets how he wants his corners and his safeties to play coverage, because people were kind of upset because Mike Rump was teaching a style where guys kind of play through the hands, where you don't kind of turn around and identify the ball. You just kind of play through the hands and try to get knockouts in terms of the ball versus trying to turn around and be playmakers on the ball, right? And so I will argue with people back and forth about that because people would blame Mike Rump for that. And I would say, man, look, the internet is your friend. You can easily go back to find footage of Manny Diaz's previous stops, and you'll see that the corners are all playing the same way. And Mike Rump wasn't there, right? I say that to say this. Um, a defensive back coach success is based around what type of defensive coordinator he has, how aggressive he is or how unaggressive he is, right? So I know a lot of people were kind of talking about, well, hey, he was an instant upgrade over T Rob and all this stuff like this. And it's like the corners didn't play the way that I know T Rob teaches his corners to play, right? Because the defensive scheme that we ran didn't lend or didn't necessarily put them in position to do that. So a lot of speculation about who do you replace him with, right? DVD's name is being thrown around. I saw another name being thrown around. I know some people are going to say if he would have left sooner, we would have had a shot at Corey Raymond, trying to get Corey Raymond, before he went back to LSU. So I don't know. I don't know. Based on numbers, based on numbers, go get Mike Rump back. Go get Mike Rump back. Secondary was uh, statistically was very good under Mike Rump and Coach Banda's tutelage. But I know that's not going to fit any particular narratives because individuals are going to turn around and say, well, hey, he wasn't that good of a recruiter. And my rebuttal to that is going to be, well, hey, how can you be a good recruiter when those Alabama, Georgias, and LSU they're throwing bags at players, right? So I'm going to use that. I'm going to say Mike Rump was not a good recruiter simply because we were not allowed to throw bags. So imagine now, bags are legal. Let Mike Rump back out there on the trail. Remember, the video was just, it would be full circle. The video was just, resurfaced again about Mike Rump talking to Julian saying about people not wanting to be in Alabama. You know what I mean? So why not allow for Mike Rump to be unleashed with bags? To go out there and he can fully explain to these young men, like, hey, look, you can come to Miami, put a few dollars in your pocket, you can hang out on Biscayne, Pembroke Pines, or whatever the situation is. You know what I mean? And come help us build a championship contender. Man, put Mike Rump back in there. People talk about, go get the best defensive back coach available. No, go get Mike Rump. Give him the checkbook and let him go. Because and I said this on my last live, and I was half joking, but I was being serious though. I was being serious because I think some of the older coaches, in terms of, again, not saying they're just as good as recruiters as Mario and people on his staff, but it looks different now when you can legally pay players. And that was what a lot of people used as an excuse as to why we didn't get players, because we were not able to offer them, monetary, favors or monetary, not giving them the ability to get money, right? So let's get Mike Run back in the building, right? Former Kane, people love giving former Kane's jobs now. So that's what that is, man. But anyway, man, we're gonna do a live show. I guess. I guess Thursday, right? Um, and I'm gonna finally unveil a name for what this is gonna be. So we'll finally get a name. Try to get this formatted. I got some interesting kind of, I don't want to say topics, but some interesting type of things I want to try to incorporate. Some things that I've seen, on some other places, and I think they're kind of cool. So I'm trying to bring them over here. So with that being said, man, as always, man, like, share, subscribe, and comment. And in the comment section, man, who would y'all like to replace Alonzo Highsmith? I'm gonna answer first. Nobody, because I don't think it's a position worth replacing. I think it was just a lot of, even when Ed Reed was hired, I think some of these things that are done are just ways to kind of appease the fan base because I think they think some people are not articulate enough to kind of understand stuff. So they'll say, hey, we'll give you Ed Reed and a chief of staff. Hey, we'll give you an Alonzo Highsmith in a GM role, but we're going to y'all's opinions are not going to be needed. We're going to run this the way that we want to run it because at the end of the day, it's not like this is not the mafia where um the the head coach is the boss, the AD is the underboss, and then the chief of staff GM was the consigliere. Like no, no, and even in mafia term, the consigliere wasn't. It was a position, but it's not what that is. So anyway, if y'all feel it should be replaced, give me a name. I don't think it should be replaced. Defensive back coach, who y'all feel it should be replaced? Who should replace Jabril Adai? My vote is Mike Rump. I'm dead serious. Let that man go out there on the trail with a couple of dollars in his pocket, and I guarantee you things will look a lot different. Imagine this. I'm gonna say this. Imagine Mike Rump had because again, according to people, we lost Tyson Campbell, we lost Pat Surtain Jr., as well as we lost what's my man name? Henderson. We lost all three of those guys because we didn't have bag men. So give Mike Rump a bag and tell him the I think because I'm following recruiting a little bit more this year. I see that the number one and number two corners for the 2025 class are committed to Ohio State. Give Mike Rump the bag. Let Mike Rump go up there, wherever those two young men are, and let Mike Rump get to work. Let him give them the Julian Saying speech. Right? So I'm halfway joking, but it is what it is. And also in the comment section, do y'all feel like Jimmy Graham is a Hall of Famer based on my criteria, right? Even though my criteria doesn't mean anything, but do you think he's a Hall of Famer when we talk about all-time greats? Can you talk about the history of NFL tight ends and not include Jimmy Graham and not miss a beat? Miss a beat. So that's the way I look at it. But anyway, man, like, share, subscribe, comment, and like I said, we'll be live Thursday. As always, man, it's all about the you. I'm out.